Hey artists, today we're going to be making our own Native American teepees, and we're going to use different symbols to tell a story on these amazing Native American homes. So follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to make your own teepee. All right, to get started, I'm thinking back on the book, The Indian Paintbrush, and those amazing teepees that everyone was living in the story. To make that teepee shape, I'm going to put a dot kind of toward the bottom of my page here, and then I'm going to go straight across and put a dot over here, leaving a little chunk of space about this big at the bottom. Then I'm going to put a dot, leaving another little chunk of space right there. That makes a triangle if I run my finger over it. And it leaves me a little space to put the wood that comes out of the top of the teepee that holds it together, and a little space to curve the teepee down here at the bottom. So we did a dot on this side, a dot on this side, and a dot up here. Now we're going to connect it. Straight line to connect, and another straight line to connect these two. Now here, I'm going to outline it with my finger first. I'm going to do a curved line. So you're going to take your pencil and you're going to do a curved line, connecting that together. Now we're going to do a little rainbow line up and down, and that is going to be the entrance and doorway to our teepee home. At the top, we're going to draw a stick that comes out in the middle, and maybe one that goes this way, one that goes that way, and then we'll put a stick in between both of those. And those are the long pieces of wood that are used to hold the teepee up, and then the hide is wrapped around them to make this part of your teepee. Now that you have sketched out your teepee, the next thing we're going to be doing is telling a story. And so that is something really cool about Native American art, is they had different symbols and they can tell a story. So I'm going to look at these symbols. I have the moon, a rainbow, the hunt, bird tracks, sun, friendship, good luck, sad, man and woman, happy, spring, the symbol for teepee, morning, noon, and evening, lightning, campfire, rain, blossom, which would be like a flower, fast, deer, river, summer, camp, horse tracks, mountain, good crops, war, and bear. So let me think how I could possibly use these. I think I'm going to tell a story about a day that it rained, and a woman saw a rainbow in the morning after it rained. I think that's how I'm going to do my story. So with my pencil, I'm going to sketch out the story first, and then we'll add color to our teepee. So I'm going to say this, the symbol for woman, which is like a triangle and a little triangle and two lines and a circle. So the woman gets up in the morning, and here's the symbol for morning. It's a rainbow line with a little line here. She gets up in the morning and it starts to rain. So I'm putting my rain symbol here. Wiggly lines show the rain. So it starts to rain, and then the sun comes out. The sun comes out, and there's our little sun picture. That's when she sees the rainbow. So we draw a rainbow line, and then another one, and then one more, and we connect them on the bottom. She sees a rainbow and she feels happy. Happy is a circle with another circle. Ooh, I'm going to erase that. I want my circle to be right in the middle. There we go, a circle with a circle in the middle, 2 lines on top, 2 lines on the bottom and on the sides. Wow, and now we have our teepee picture with a story. The woman gets up in the morning and then she's walking, it starts to rain, but then the sun comes out, she sees a rainbow and she feels happy. The next step is going to be adding color to our teepee. So the Native Americans would use different things they found in nature to create paint. And so I'm going to paint these symbols with my markers. So I'm just going to get some of my colors and I'm going to start painting over my symbols. So I'm adding that color to my symbols just to make it a little more exciting. So there's that. And then it's morning. I think I'm going to use orange for the morning. You can use any color you want. And then it started to rain. And then the sun comes out. And then we can color in that rainbow. And then I can put the happy sign. All right, now that I decorated my symbols, if you want, you could just put some different line designs on with your markers or your crayons. I'm gonna do a bumpy line design. And I think I'm gonna do a triangle line. Just to add a little bit of color to my picture. A little extra design. That looks pretty nice. Maybe I'll put some little polka dots. So you can put a little bit of line design below your story and maybe a little line design above your story. I'll do a whirly swirly line. All right, so the next step is we are going to color in the doorway, and so inside it's going to be darker. So I'm going to take my black marker and I'm going to color inside of the door space black to show that it's shaded in there, and with the light on the outside you can't really see inside of here. So I'm going to take my black marker and just color that part in black. The next thing we're going to do is color the teepee. So the teepee is made out of buffalo hide, and so it's going to have a bit of a brownish color. So I'm going to grab my brown crayon and I'm going to lightly color this in brown. Just through the middle here. And since we used marker, I can color right over it very lightly with my brown crayon, and it doesn't really disturb the color at all. So I'm just doing some very light pressure and lightly coloring in that teepee. All right, so I've got the hide colored in. Now, Native Americans who lived in teepees were very good artists, so they might have just added a little more color when they were painting on top of their hides. So if you want to, you can add a little extra design with your crayons. And I just imagine them using different berries to make their paint for this part. And I'm just filling that in with my crayon, coloring carefully. And then we can get a different color. And the next thing we're going to do is think about behind our teepee and the background. I am thinking I'm going to draw the ground with my horizon line. So I just kind of draw a line that goes and stops right there. And then I pick it up and then I bring it back down here. And this shows that this part is the ground and this part is the sky. For your sky, you could have it be sunset. You could have it be nighttime. So if you were doing a sunset, you might get out some reds and oranges and pinks for your sky and make sunset colors. If you want it to be a nighttime sky, you might have some blues and purples and make a nighttime sky. Or if you want it to be a daytime sky, you might take some blues and leave some clouds open here and then draw your sky like it is daytime. We are not going to draw a lot of trees or anything in the background because the Native Americans who lived on the plains in teepees lived in an area where there were not a ton of trees. It would be a lot of tall grasses and then wide open spaces. So what we're going to do is go ahead and color down here with our grass, and then you can choose what colors you want to do for the sky. I am going to take my brown marker and go over the poles that we made with wood so you can really see them. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so for my grass, there would be like long prairie grasses, so you could have some really tall grasses that come up. And you could put some down here, those really tall grasses if you want. And you can use some different colors too. You can be using your dark green crayon like I am. You could get your light green crayon and add some other little wispies of grass to make it look thicker and have more dimension. You could even take your green marker and add some other little wispies in just to give it more texture. These nice tall plains grasses. And if you've ever seen grasses that kind of look like wheat, they might even have a little bit of this orangey color. These tall grasses that have kind of a yellowy orange color, and you can have those in there too. All right, the next thing we're going to do is just take our green and finish coloring in the grass. Just lightly going over what we already colored. This is starting to look really neat. Our teepee that tells a story is sitting here in the grass. So just using your best coloring, not leaving any white space. Nice smooth coloring. And on this end over here. All right, and now for that sky, you get to decide, are you going to have a blue sky, are you going to have a night sky, or are you going to have a sunset sky? I think I'm going to just do a nice sunny day. So I'm going to draw some clouds. And I'm outlining them so I leave that part white, and then I'll just kind of color in the rest of it blue. So now I'm just going to gently color. I'm using the blue-green. You can use regular blue crayon. I would use crayon or colored pencil. I would not use marker for the sky because it'll make it look a little clumpy. So gently, gently coloring here. And we're just going to finish coloring in that whole sky nice and smooth, not leaving any white space except for our clouds. So I'm gently coloring around the cloud lines so I can leave that part white. All right, once you're done finishing coloring your sky, if you want, you could just put a little bit of a shadow by pushing a little harder where your sky is, and that will make your teepee just kind of pop out a little more, showing that edge. All right, and then you are pretty much finished. If there's any other details you wanted, maybe you could get your black crayon. And if you imagine that inside the teepee, they're burning the fire to stay warm, you could have a little bit of smoke coming out, and that's just going to be a few little wiggly lines with your black crayon, just to show a little bit of that smoke coming out. All right, and you could always go ahead and put maybe a couple birds flying out in the distance or whatever little details you want in your picture. But now you are finished with an amazing teepee, just like we read about with the Indian and the paintbrush, and you have told a story with the symbols. I cannot wait to see your teepee creations.